Good morning, all. This is my second lecture on essentials of business communication, dealing on the aspect of oral communication and written communication. In today's lecture, I'll be discussing upon the aspects of principles of oral communication and two sides of oral communication. To begin with, I'm going to start that what, as I have already told you in the previous lecture of mine, wherein I have told you that what do we actually mean by the term oral communication. Oral communication, as we all know, that is going to deal with something relating to an utterance of mouth or using the medium of mouth for communicational purposes. So, if you just have a look of in the previous slide of mine, which you have already studied in the previous lecture, that what is the oral communication all about? What are the types of oral communication, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of oral communication? In today's lecture, I'll be focusing upon the principles of oral communication and the two sides of oral communication. That means that on the basis of these principles or on the basis of these postulates, we are in a condition to say that oral communication has done well and is doing considerably effective. So, to begin with, what exactly do we mean by the term oral communication? Oral communication is going to deal a lot with uh, something related to the process of verbally transmitting the information and ideas from one individual or group to another. Like you can see in both the cartoons of mine, I have depicted that both the individuals are trying to communicate their own mannerisms using their own process of transferring the information in using the verbal vocalics. And as you all know that oral communication has example of face-to-face conversation, telephone conversation, discussion to the business meetings, some formal presentations, classroom lectures, and commencement of the speech and ceremony. So these are basically the examples of oral communication. Oral communication deals with lots and lots of things relating to all of the things which we communicate using the verbal language of ours. So, what are the ways of improving the oral communication? Like you can see in the cartoon itself, we say that may I speak. Now, during the communication, or you can say that during the process of when the oral communication is going to take place, you cannot raise your hand and say that may I speak. For that, you need to uh, make your communicational abilities so strong that people ought to listen to you. So, what are the ways by which you can make your oral communication improve? Are attend or watch videos of a speech delivered by skilled presenters. Notice on how they use the body language, voice, tone, eye contact, and other tools to present the compelling speech. Also notice that how they structure the content of their speech and how they use the visual aids. Then practice the pitch an idea of delivering the presentation to a trusted friend or mentor. You can ask him to act as an audience, including the frowning and indication and confusing the posing question at the end of the talk. Ask the person to give you an honest feedback. See, in this 2 points, what I have tried to deliver is that on the basis of these 2 points, you will be in a position to actually improve or improvise your oral communication. Basically, your body language, your voice, tone, eye contact are the basic sense by which you are in a position to actually make your oral communication uh, a mark in the eyes of others. So, for that, you need to practice and watch videos. I'm not saying that you continuously go on the YouTube and search for the oral communication abilities and just go through the videos of that. No, I am saying that you need to watch the videos and imbibe all those mistakes. Learn from those mistakes imbibe those qualities, not mistakes, qualities, by which you will be in a position to actually deliver the content or actually deliver the knowledge which you need to tell your audience. Practice pitching of ideas. Now, excuse me, what is happening? I'm actually pitching my ideas. I'm actually pitching my views in front of you all so that you will be in a position to actually learn what I mean to say. So for that, you need to ask your friend. You need to ask your any friend of yours or any mentor of yours or any kind of person who can be a kind of a spectator for you, and just ask him to give an honest feedback that sit in front of me, look at me, look at make the frowning faces, make the questions, pose the questions, and by the end of the speech, you will be able to get the exact view of what exactly the person is dealing or person is thinking about your speech. Videotape yourself. Now, this is though a painful task, and it's really a very cumbersome task. You need to video shoot yourself, like what we are doing. We are actually video shooting ourselves, and we are just before that we have rehearsed this entire speech, and we have rehearsed the thing that how well we need to present it in front of the videos. So for that, you need to tape yourself. You need to record your voice. You need to record your poise, your instances, your speech, your language, the way you improvise upon your words. Everything you need to record so that just by playing the record again, you can actually make the correction, make those element, make those improvisation in your words, or you can actually make the things much more logical. Nervousness, inadequate volume, lack of eye contact, confused line and argument are the things that uh, happen randomly. That means that while say for example I am also delivering a lecture, so inadequate voice tone may not be clear at times. Eye contact can be lacking at times. There may be a confused line of a statement or argument. So all these things will be edited in your videotaping. Next, many people find public speaking more terrifying than actual stressing upon the experiences. So public speaking, when you speak it in front of the public, you actually find it very very awkward, or at times you say that I'm feeling very very nervous to deliver the thought in front of the people. So before that, you need to rehearse it. You like to make your oral communication in front of the public, you need to actually rehearse it before time. And that thing I have told in my previous lecture also, that before making a formal presentation, you actually need to rehearse that particular presentation of yours, so that you can have the exact idea that what you actually want to say and how you want to say it. Now, let us move on to the principles of successful oral communication. Now, what do you mean by successful oral communication? Now, are these things good enough to actually say that oral communication, just by following these principles or postulates, you will be able to give the authentic, the more accurate, and the more poised oral communication? Yes, it's true. You can, these are those 12 principles on the basis of which the communicational abilities, and that too in oral sense, can be developed at far stretched times. So to begin with, the very first is it should be well planned. Now, whatever you say, whatever you speak, if you just utter it, that means without thinking, without actually improvising, without actually making a thought process into your mind that whether the words are true or not, or actually judging it, you won't be in a condition, in whatsoever manner you won't be in a condition to actually present your views in front of the people. So what is happening? You actually need to well plan your entire thing. For that, the first step is to planning the talk, developing the purpose statement. Now, why I'm saying that purpose statement? For every talk you make, there should be a purpose. And if there is no purpose, remember students, any statement or any word talked or discussed without a proper purpose, you won't be able to accomplish your objectives in the manner you actually want them to be. A well planned presentation should also have an opening strategy that it helps in developing a rapport with the audience. So, like when I'm beginning with my lecture, I say good morning all, and then I just begin with it. So this is the thing which you need to actually open up with the thought of yours. So what we are doing is we are actually planning with the opening strategy. That means how to actually open the lecture. That means how to open a lecture out or how to open a talk. And for that, this purpose statement is going to give you a very clear picture. The main idea of how the purpose statement manifests itself in the talk. Now, the purpose, say for example, the purpose of talking is negotiation, or you want to negotiate between two parties. There are two parties, there are two agreed parties, and you want to negotiate. Purpose of yours is to negotiate. How will you open? You're just going to bid them, you're going to bid hello to them, then you're going to make them ask them to sit, calm down, relax, and then discuss the main idea. The main idea of bringing you together is that I need to negotiate. So, this thing you have to say in front of people. Overviews give the listener a mental roadmap. Now, the moment you say, I want to negotiate, these two people will get a review of yours that yes, this is the thing which you want them to do or which you actually want them to communicate. Then the conclusions. Conclusion will deal upon the brief summary of referring the presentation main points and all, and the takeaway statements. Conclusion should remember the process of negotiation or the process of giving an overview. When giving a conclusion, after an overview, the conclusion going to arise. Remember, the conclusion should always hold a positive statement. If it holds a negative statement, say for example, if you're doing a research, you're making a research statement of it, or you're going to make a research aspect, or making a research field. So conclusion made in a research field can be positive, can be negative, but in a negotiation or in an alternate or in an alternate of a situation or something positive, something fruitful, the conclusion shall always be favorable. And the takeaway statement should be the last sentence. Thank you, or wish you luck, or good luck. These are the takeaway statements that is going to give a listener a well thought structure. Next is your clear pronunciation. Now, how you're going to clearly pronounce your particular thing, that means that if you just have a look at your presentational skills, or if you just have a look at how you are going to present your thoughts. Now, the thing is that we all need to have a clear picture of what and which of the words are actually meaningful. That means, say for example, each and every word should be clearly and correctly pronounced. If it is clearly or correctly pronounced, then you can have the clear methodology or clear feedback of yours. Say for example, if you just make a statement in a haphazard manner, or if you make a vocal, because oral communication deals with your vocal thoughts, deals with how you pronounce this particular situation clearly or not. So all these things will make up a particular impact in the minds of the reader. That means how to work pronunciation effectively. First of all, the vowel length should be discussed. One of the biggest difficult in clear pronunciation is the length of the vowel. You say A, E, I, O, U are the vowels. You say you ought to be. So the mannerism, the pronunciation of any kind of verb. You say pronunciation. The word is not pronunciation. Though we are going to write pronunciation, the word you has to be pronounced. But in terms of British language, that means that if you go in, there are two types of English: British English and American English. In American English, they do not use this particular accent terminology. That means that they use a kind of a grammatical thing. They can, at times, you can hear a word pronunciation to be spoken by an American, but a Britisher or a person from Britain will always use the word pronunciation. So this thing, the vowel accent should be there. Mouth position, how you open your words, how you make, say for example, at times you say so this is not a kind of mouth position you are going to make. You need to practice a lot while you're going to deliver your thoughts. Practice your mouth position. It should be apt, it should be in balance, and it should be in accordance to the situation. Practice listening. The biggest folly of we people is that we do not listen, and this is really a very sad statement that though we have a quality, we are very good orators in India, we have very good orators, but we do not practice listening, we do not have patience. So for that you need to listen a lot, you need to make a listening aspect. Language tongue twisters, those practice, you need to write the tongue twisters. Say for example, your blue blood black blood, and reciting this blue blood black blood 20 times. If you just go on with it, blue blood black blood, blue blood black blood, so this thing is going to twist or make up your language, you make up your uh, uh, communicational strategies in a better way. You are going to pronounce the things in a better and a clear manner. Feedback, yes, feedback is very important, because in pronouncing or in pronouncing, the feedback needs to be given. You need to have a kind of a people with you, or you need to have a kind of a critic with you who is actually going to realize upon the aspect that yes, this is a thing which you need to work upon, this is a thing which you need to learn upon. So feedback needs to be continuously given to the people. Put stress on stress. Now the thing is that there are two things: stress on stress. That means you need to improvise upon your words, putting lot and lots of thing upon the stress aspect. Do not be stressed while pronouncing a word. Practice the word stress with vocabulary. Now often we say that how we're going to enhance our vocabulary: read the newspaper, read the dictionary, read the all. No, actually try to read any kind of literature. Practice it by underlining the difficult words, and the moment you write it in your, by make a kind of a, this is what I actually do. I personally also do this thing. I read a lot. I read the words, I jot the difficult words in my diary. I have named it my own dictionary, and just use that word, start using that particular word into my own language. Say for example, I use benediction instead of blessings, or using of supercalifragilistic instead of very beautiful. So these are the things which you actually need to learn from the vocabulary aspects. Brevity. Effective oral communication desires that message should be brief. Every sender should look a long time for talking. His message should not be getting attention of the receiver. Brevity is the shortness in duration or conciseness of the expression in speech or in written text. Contrast with the verbosity. Now, say for example, in today's world, no one has a very long time to listen to all your triple talks. So for that, you need to cut down your communication. Do not go blah 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 and all. You just need to summarize the thing. There are certain examples and observation. If you would be pungent, be brief, for it is with the word and with the subbeams. The more they are considered, the deeper they are burned. Now, Robert Southey has exclaimed using the term brevity. He says that, yeah, if you are going long enough, say for example, if you write too much in your thing, or in your any kind of verbal things, or if you're going to talk a lot, people won't listen to you. People will only listen. It's a matter of psychology also, that we always listen or try to listen to those words which are of interest to us. The moment you use such kind of words, it will actually cling into it. Brevity is greater charm of eloquence. Cyril has said that if you need to create a charm in your verbolics, or in your verbal language, or in your oral language, you need to actually create a brevity, a shortness in it. How brief? Well, as brief as possible, but not so brief that the message doesn't get across. Now, the thing is that you say tomorrow is holiday, and you communicate this thing to your friends. Tomorrow is what? If you just make it too brief, the understandability of the subject won't be there. So you need to be brief enough, but not too brief. And there are no hard and fast rule for giving an ear to brevity. Precision. Precision means that you need to be very, very precise enough in actually delivering upon your thoughts ability. There should be not any confusion with the words, rather than message to be delivered should be specific, so that there may be no misunderstanding. So now the point is that, what do you actually mean by the term precision? Precision means the moment I utter a word tree, your brain should actually grasp that word tree. Now, when I say tree and you say free, tree, spree, and all, so these are the things which are a kind of a barrier for you all. So you actually need to improvise upon the precision ability of a being. An example is how close an arrow gets bull in the eye center. Precision is how repeatable a measurement. An example is how to shoot the second arrow to the first regardless of one. Now, precision, there's a formula for precision also. Precision means true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. Now, what is this precision? What is this formula? If you actually need to be precise, you need to have your true positive feelings. Now, what are those true positive feelings? You enter into the class, you see the teacher, or you enter into the class, you see lots and lots of people sitting on a particular in a particular class, and the moment you get a news that today your teacher is absent, the kind of uh, enthusiasm, the kind of feeling of happiness or and all, it all always gushes into your mind. And the moment you realize that, oh, teacher has come, so a kind of negative attitude or false positives comes into you, because you cannot say it in front of teacher that, oh teacher, you came today, I don't want to study. So you cannot say these words. You actually need to be you have both true feelings and false feelings. So to be precise, or to be accurate, you need to have very, very true feelings, and those true feelings will can be divided by the true feelings plus false feelings. This is precision. What is natural voice? Now, voice refers to the ability to engage meaningful conversation and to make a difference or impact upon the key decision making. According to Joel Paul Lidach, the voice centers upon inclusive conversation that are grounded on mutuality, understanding of mutuality, understanding, and accessibility. When individuals have voice their views, thoughts, and feeling receive fair hearing than readily recognized by others. It is always said that you need to have a natural voice of yours. See, many of people copy others. They say, for example, if you just hear the voice, I'm not going to actually name the people, but they have tendency to imitate the voices of others, like imitating the voice of your honorable prime minister, imitating the voice of any Barack Obama and all, imitating the voice of various people and becoming and losing their own voice. Now, students, you need to remember upon this aspect. You can, in no circumstance, lose your voice. If you have an ability to make a gimmick of voice of others, do not lose your own identity or do not lose your natural voices in whatsoever circumstances. You have to have your own tone, your own pitch, your own quality, and articulation of inflections. It can be said that our voice is the primary link between our mind and the body. So, primary link between the mind and body is your voice. You need to have a natural voice, a natural feeling into your source. Logical sequence. Now, when you utter a word or when you make a oral communication, there should be a logical sequence. Logical sequence deals with four basic criteria: enhance the interest, create a link, enhance understanding, and concrete on focus. Now, why I am using these four elements only? See, basically, uh, what is happening in oral communication? In oral communication, you are actually listening your speaker, the way he pronounces, the way he speaks, the way he delivers the thoughts. All these things are going to actually make or enhance your interest. Then it creates a link, it creates a kind of a linking ability in you all. Enhance the understanding. You actually enhance your understanding. By enhancing understanding means you are focusing upon your understandability and creating an understanding attitude. Concrete on focuses. You actually are focusing on what the people really need. Say, for example, when I am giving a lecture, what I am focusing upon is that my all students are able to understand each and every word in all those logical sequence which I actually want them to understand. Suitable words. Now, what are the suitable words? Now, at times there are three. If you just make a statistical review, there are 334 words which are related to each other in a similar way of oral communication. That means that 334 words are there that actually have a common meaning of each other. Say, for example, one word is going to have the same meaning, and the same word is going to have the same meaning with the other. So you can think it in that way that suitable word means that using an oral communication or actually making an oral communication, you need to improvise that particular logical word which you actually need to which actually need to deliver the content which you want it to be. So, making a suitable word or making a suitable phrase, you need to deliver an effective communicational ability. So, for that, you need to deploy the phrases accurately. At times, uh, say for example, I give you a very, very personal example of my own. That what happened that one time I was using a word beautiful, and I just wrote supercalifragilistic. So supercalifragilistic also means beautiful, but in that particular instance or in that particular picture, using a word beautiful would have been much more apt, because not all of us know the actual meaning of supercalifragilistic. So use that word which are being understandable by all the people in all the logical sequence. Courteous. Now remember, students, you need to be very very courteous in nature. Making your speech, you need to be courteous, you need to address your listeners, you need to listen to them, you create a very good impression, so that there may be in a mind of listener that whatever you are saying is actually correct and actually is according to his interest and all. You need to be courteous. Attractive presentation. Now attractive presentation, does it means that attractivity of your own, like this gentleman is wearing suit and all and is presenting the statistics in a logical sequence, and uh, the stance and the poise which he is using is of much more acceptable by all. So does this means this means an active presentation or attractive presentation? Yes, it actually means an attractive presentation, because attractive presentation is going to count upon your four selves. That is your physical self, that means how you look; your mental self, that means your mental ability; your social self, how you interact people; and your moral self, that means your moral values, your courtesies, your mannerisms, and all. Attractive presentation do count upon it. Avoiding emotions. Now remember, students, you need to avoid your emotions considerably, because like you all have a very positive and negative feelings towards each other. Now look at the face which I've depicted in this in the presentation. There are two faces. There are two faces: a face of disgust, a face of happiness. Now making an oral communication, when you actually communicate with others, you need to think upon that oral communication actually listens or actually makes an emotion, or is going to deal with the feeling aspect of the people. The moment you utter a word, or say for example when you are happy and someone comes and utter a words with you or exchange words with you, the emotion of happiness makes you so much so applaudable that you can even embrace your enemy. But if you are in a feeling of disgust, you won't leave your friend also, because the thing is that emotion actually counts upon your thing. The moment you utter a word, the moment you make the person understand that what you actually want, what are your feelings, what are your emotions. So you need to be very intact with your emotional abilities. For your emotional abilities to be intactful, you need to practice. You can practice yoga and all. You can control your emotions and just practice that. That is a very good option. So avoiding emotions, you can because what happens actually in practical world when you are emotional, that means that when you are having your emotional thoughts of something like, or if you're going to have an emotional thought of something new, what actually happens that you will not communicate in the manner which you ought to communicate. You actually communicate in a very reciprocative manner. So you need to avoid your emotions considerably. Emphasize. Now, whatever are the keywords of your presentation or of your oral communication, you need to actually emphasize upon your keywords. Like, what are the keywords? Keywords are actually those words which are used too commonly. They are like I too commonly use the word actually. So this is a keyword of my particular presentation or any of things. This you can say those things which you use repeatedly in your presentation. Make a point of those words, and those words are the words which you actually need to emphasize upon. Controlling Gesticulation. Now, this is the most important thing which you need to understand. You need to have a gesticulation of your gestures. That means in this in the year 1999, Anderson said that there are three types of gestures: adapters, emblems, and illustrators. Adapters, who which these are those gestures which we actually adapt. Emblems, which we have been given from our ancestors, and illustrators we use too commonly for illustrating, say for example, pointing or daunting at someone. So making a public speech or actually delivering public speech, you need to focus upon your descriptive gestures. That means that these are the gestures that we use to describe something or a situation. Empathetic gestures are more like an emotional emoticons and all. Suggestive gestures, these are the gestures that depict moods and expressions. And prompting gestures, these are the ones that prompt the audience to do something. So, on the basis of these gestures, you will be in a position to actually uh, control your gesticulation attributes. So, these are the 12 principles on the basis of which your oral communication can be perfect. You can actually see the cartoon. It's also showing the perfect. So, just by controlling or by laying emphasis upon your these 12 these 12 presentation or these 12 principles, you will be in a position to actually communicate or actually communicate orally in front of all the people. Let us move on to the other side of your oral communication. Now, there are two sides of oral communication. What are those two sides? Oral communication describes any type of interaction that makes use of spoken words as a vital integral part of the business world. For oral communication to be effective, it should be clear, it should be relevant, it should be tactful, and phraseology in tone, concise, and information. Now, why I am using this, or what is the need to study these two sides of effective oral communication? Now, on the basis of these two sides, you will actually come to know that oral communication has only two faces. It has two faces. It has the faces of reflection, it has a face of empathy. So, reflection and empathy are the two sides by which your oral communication, you can say they are the two faces of your oral communication. Oral communication deals with the aspect of reflecting and reflecting in a logical manner. What is reflecting? Reflecting is a process of paraphrasing and restating both the feelings of the words of a speaker. The purpose of reflecting are to allow the speaker to hear their own thoughts and to focus on what they say and feel, to show the speaker that you are trying to perceive that word as they say it is, and that you are doing your best to understand the message. Reflecting, what does reflecting means? Reflecting means it is actually you are listening that particular individual. That means you are allowing your speaker, you're hearing your views of the speaker and making him understand that yes, whatever you are saying, I am understanding it in the manner you want me to understand, and encourage a continuous talking manner. What are the Let us continue with the aspect of oral communication itself. There are two techniques or two major ways by which you are actually going to make a person reflect. Reflecting does not involve asking questions, introducing a new topic, or leading the conversation in another direction. The speakers are helped through reflecting, and It is not allow them to feel understood, but it actually gives and them opportunity to focus upon their ideas. Now, what reflecting is all about, say for example, you can see in the picture itself, the very first technique of reflection is mirroring. You are actually telling that yes, I am looking good. Yes, whatever you want to communicate to me, or whatever you want to communicate to me, I'm understanding that thing. The very first technique is mirroring. Mirroring is a simple form of reflecting and involves repeating almost exactly what the speaker wants. It is usually enough to repeat the keywords, the last few words spoken. So, what you are saying, say for example, the speaker says, "Do you agree?" Yes, I agree. I am saying this. Yes, yes, I can understand your viewpoint. So you are actually mirroring him, or you are actually saying that yes, whatever you are saying, I'm agreeing to your point. But uh, in order to, say for example, in group discussion also, in group discussion techniques also, later on in the in your during the presentation skills or and group discussion and all, you will see that a topic will be thrown in front of you and you need to communicate at open. So how you will start with the communication, and then as soon as the other counters you, you're going to say, yes my friend, I totally agree with your point. The moment you say these words, it is going to create a mirror effect, that yes, he is agreeing with my point. So actually you are not agreeing, you are just mirroring him, but in reality you are emphasizing upon the reflecting aspect of oral communication. The next aspect is paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing involves the use of other words to reflect what speaker has said. Paraphrase show not only that you are listening, but it is an attempt to understand what a speaker is saying. So paraphrasing involves using other words to reflect what the speaker has said. Other words can be, you can use a synonym, you can use you can use any kind of thing. It often the case people to hear, they accept the hear due to assumption and all, stereotyping and prejudice. What what actually is happening? Actually, we are using another word that is similar to the word that the speaker has said, but we are paraphrasing it. We are using our own word. We actually need to make him understand that whatever you have said, what I have understood that thing, but I am making it much more clear, making it much more understandable to the people or to the audience. Now, the second thing is empathy. Empathy. The very first thing is your reflection, and your second thing is your empathy. So, what does your empathy means? Empathy is going to define the ability to identify and understand the other situations and feelings. You are empathizing on that. Yes, I am with you. I totally know your thing, and it is a kind of a thing which is going to provide a moral solace to the to the person. How you're going to develop this particular empathy of empathy attitude? Develop your self awareness. Communicate with others. You need to actually communicate with the person that yes, I am with you, and you genuinely need to support him. Smile at him. Make a genuine enthusiasm. Lead the way. Listen and show the interest. Withhold the judgment. Share professional resources. With this, you will be able to give him an actual representation of the thoughts. So this was something which I need to communicate to you all, and let's make a quick recap of what we have done. We have done with the greater with what exactly the communication skills is all about. We have done to improvise upon your oral communication. We have discussed upon the principles of oral communication. We have the 12 principle at length, two sides of effective communication. We have discussed the both side reflection and empathy in detail. So this was my presentation on this particular topic. So this was all about my presentation. I hope that I have done justice to my presentation, and the thoughts of oral communication, its principles and its two sides are very much clear with you. If any kind of doubts or any kind of questions arise in your mind, you can just refer to me. You can mail me. You can come in the class hours, or you can just make a WhatsApp group to me. Anything and the way you suits to me. Thank you.